What's going on, y'all? It's your boy No Credit, and I'm back again with another one. I need you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon for more videos and lives like these. That being said, let's get into it. Jaron Ennis recently did an interview with Fight Hype. In this interview, he spoke on Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis. He spoke on Brian Norman Sr. saying he's ducking his son and he's going to fight Teofimo Lopez if he gets past Emmanuel Stanionis. Honestly, I don't like that Stanionis fight. The only reason why I don't think it's a bad fight, it's a solid fight. Stanionis, he put in some work and became a champion or whatever. He didn't beat nobody for the belt, because Crawford was undisputed. And he vacated the belts, so these guys didn't really have to fight for the belts. Ennis didn't have to fight for the belts. All of these dudes at 147 are email champions. They never had to fight for any belts. All of their belts. That's why the 147-pound division is one of the weakest divisions in boxing right now. If we really sit down and look at it, the 147-pound division is one of the weakest divisions in boxing. If you sit down, look, these dudes none of these dudes have beat anybody in the sport of boxing, for real. They don't have a resume. But I don't want to get off topic. The reporter asked Jaron Ennis more questions about other fighters than himself, which is crazy. These reporters have to ask better questions. Anyway, moving forward, Jaron Ennis talks about Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Tank Davis. He says that's a 50-50 fight. I disagree. I don't see how that's a 50-50 fight. That's not a hard fight to predict. Styles make fights. Gervonta is going to be frustrated versus Shakur Stevenson. He's going to get a boxing lesson. He's going to get in there with a guy he can't knock out. And he's going to lose a lot of rounds. It is what it is. That's boxing. Everybody thinks Shakur is going to get knocked out because they don't know shit about boxing. It is what it is. People just got to study the sport, watch film, and leave the emotions at home. It is what it is. Anyway, Jaron Ennis went on to say, he went on to talk about why he didn't get to fight with Terence Crawford or Earl Spence. Let's be real. He was on the PBC side. He never wanted to fight Earl Spence, and he never wanted to fight Terence Crawford. He just attached his name to these guys to get a name. Let's be real. He never wanted to fight any of those guys. He's been the mandatory for Earl Spence for the longest. I think people don't really follow the sport. Y'all just come on here and just talk in the comment section. But y'all don't truly follow the sport. Jaron Ennis has been the mandatory for Earl Spence IBF belt for years. Before the IBF even mandated Earl Spence to fight Ennis, when they gave Earl Spence 120 days to fight Jaron Ennis, when they asked him about a question about fighting Earl Spence, if he give me a shot or some shit like that, he'll say some bullshit like if he give me a shot or whatever. Come on, bro. It's not about giving you a shot. If you're the mandatory, enforce your mandatory status. Like, you and your folks been around boxing for the longest, so how you don't know what to do? If you become a mandatory challenger to a guy belt, you enforce your mandatory challenger position. Why did you have to wait all that time? You attach your name to these guys. You waited so long. Now when these guys got a fight line up, then you file a petition to the IBF. So immediately after the fight, these guys get stripped. Whoever wins gets stripped. In that case, it was Terence Crawford who took the IBF belt that Jaron Ennis was mandatory for from Earl Spence Jr., and Crawford had to not vacate the belt. He got stripped of the belt because Ennis called the cops. Pretty much, that's how you call it. There's no other way to call it. Jaron Boots Ennis called the cops. Him and his team called the cops to strip Terence Crawford of his belt. And you know what's crazy about that? They did it knowing that Crawford and Errol Spence was going to fight. Why didn't they wait until after the fight? Why didn't they wait for the result? Why would you file a petition before the fight when you knew the fight was happening? You're behind the scenes. You know what's going on. He filed a petition because he never wanted to fight the winner. People got to stop giving Ennis a pass. This guy attached his name to big names and never wanted to fight him. I mean, we seen this guy struggle with unknown people we don't even know. He struggled with a guy named Karen, bro. Are you serious, bro? He get in the ring with a guy like Terence Crawford. He may never fight again. He may never fight again. But anyway, Jaron Ennis, he goes on to talk about all types of other stuff, but he keeps repeating himself over and over again. But anyway, the reporter talked about Crawford versus Canelo fight. Soon as the reporter mentioned Crawford versus Canelo, Jaron Ennis immediately started hating. He says, oh, that's too much of a weight jump. Like skills don't pay the bills. I bet you, listen, these guys are so fake when it comes to the sport of boxing. When they don't like a fighter and a fighter is doing everything they wish they were doing, like when you listen to Jaron Ennis, oh, I want to be undisputed. Who's the undisputed king in boxing? Terence Crawford. He wants to beat Crawford so bad. Who was the guy that been going undisputed cool again? Terence Crawford. Let's be real. And this guy, Jaron Ennis, even though he's from the same city as me, he has a hater bone to him. He's a hater. Every time he opens his mouth and talk about somebody that he's not on their level, it's some type of hate to it. And it's disgusting. This is why a guy like me cannot get behind a guy like Jaron Ennis, even though we're from the same city. Every time he opens his mouth, it's some type of hate to him. That's why I don't really bang with him like that. That's why you don't see me going to his fights. Because he's a hater, in my opinion. Every time he opened his mouth, he's been picking against Bud Crawford for the longest, bro. Skills pays the bill. You know how good this guy is. Why do you always pick against him? I remember one time they compared Jaron Ennis to Terence Crawford. He said, no, I'm not like him. I'm better. No, you're not better than him. You're flashy. He has a higher IQ than you. Being flashy doesn't make you better than somebody. It just means you're flashy. Kind of similar to Gervonta Davis. When it comes to Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis is more exciting. He's more flashy, more elusive. Does that make him better than Shakur Stevenson? No, absolutely not. People need to understand the distinction, the separation. Jaron Ennis hates on Terence Crawford, says Canelo beats Terence Crawford as a 70-30 fight. He first said it's a 60-40 Canelo. Then he says it's a 70-30. Like, it's ridiculous with this guy. This guy reminds me of Gervonta Davis. Both guys don't know shit about boxing. You know, they just been fortunate enough to be around the sport of boxing. You know, and God gave these guys some talent. You know, I ain't gonna hate and say some talent. They gave them a lot of talent because they're supposedly elite level fighters, right? But when they speak on the sport of boxing, they act like guys who don't know shit about boxing. Anyways, your boy No Credit, and I'm out.